Hello and welcome to this evening time taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol gold rums. This is Aristocrat gold rum, introduced in 1933, sorry. 1999 has something else to do with it. Introduced in 1933 at the end of Prohibition, naturally. A lot of companies came on then. This is a product of the West Indies. And it was, like I said, introduced in 1933, so over 90 years ago. And it is bottled in Kentucky, but it is imported from some West Indies islands. I don't know which ones. I know it's not Cuba, but it could be the Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Montserrat. I don't know if they have a distillery in Montserrat, Anguilla. Most of those islands have distilleries, but some of them are very tiny. They wouldn't really be able to provide enough product for a major brand. This is a major brand. It's an inexpensive brand. You'll never see an advertisement for it. But then when do you ever see advertisements for any rum brand? Honestly, not even Captain Morgan anymore. But this liter bottle was $6.99 at actually, I don't remember. It could have been Ricky's or Star or International Market. I mean, we have a lot of different liquor outlets in the towns close to New Orleans, and there's probably some in New Orleans that I'm not even aware of, but I know there must be. But $6.99 for a liter, the silver and the gold. I bought both. I can't complain because they're both good, and that was an awesome deal. Glass bottles, not plastic. It's very light gold, maybe a little amber with the light shining at it, but the light shining through it is very light. So Grosskopf Distilling Company. It was a husband and wife team. They had no children of their own. I don't know what the story was with that, but they had many foster children that they helped raise and whatnot. And apparently they gave a lot of money to the University of Louisville, which back then was a city university, a city college of Louisville, and then it became Louisville State College, and then it got elevated to Louisville State, University of Louisville, which is today Louisville, Kentucky, State University. But they gave a lot of money to that university, and they had a small distillery, wasn't anything big, and but they ended up getting very elderly, and they sold the company. So this is a name, Grosskopf Distilling, but that's only a name. There's a parent company today, and they both died. The husband and wife both died within weeks of each other. This is what I read. Somebody did some research. Sorry about the coughing. Within weeks of each other in 1999, so 26 years ago. I think the husband died, and then the wife died a few weeks later, but they were very elderly, like close to 100 years old. But they did start this brand, and it's still in existence. They aren't, well, not in this world, but in the next world. But I have never seen this sold in my town. But my town is less than 30. It was only like 28,000 people here. So, and around New Orleans, you'll find it. Not too common, but it's around. Obviously I bought it. Okay, Joe Cobb says, "Evening, Ron. Cheers to you, Joe, in Canada." Wow, $6.99, true story. Tab. Liquor Enthusiast says, "Hey there, RJT. Hello to you, Liquor Enthusiast." All right, so here is Kings Bay, introduced much later, over 40 years later. Well, actually, over 50 years later. 54 years later, 1987, Kings Bay was introduced. I didn't cough much today. It's just kind of lingering, but it's going away. It comes and goes like little attacks. You know how those things go. But it was started as a trademark of Safeway grocery stores, the Safeway grocery chain. And it is still owned by Safeway Groceries, meaning the Albertsons company, because Albertsons owns Safeway. See, so I don't know when Albertsons bought Safeway. I could find out. Not that interested, but I could find out if I was really, compelled to do that. But they own it, and it's produced by the founders company for Albertsons. Safeway, Jewel Osco, Vons, Shaw's. When I was in Chicago, there were a lot of Jewel Osco stores, and I didn't realize they were owned by the Albertsons company. But I think at the time they weren't, but then they got bought out because everybody gets bought out. But there was this aborted merger between Kroger and Albertsons about 2 years ago. I don't know if they're going to reconcile and end up merging because the U.S. government was trying to stop that. But there's a new administration this year, and they probably wouldn't care, probably encourage a merger, being more of a free enterprise outfit. Well, not quite even, but I'm pretty close, and I don't want to drink too much. Okay, so this one is a little darker, and that's the Aristocrat, a little darker, like barely. And this one's very pale. Oh, so very pale. Now they're adding flavoring to it. They'll admit to you on the label that's a rum with natural flavor, which if you read your regulations is actually allowed. Any rum can have flavoring added. The most important thing is they're not required to even put that on the label. So can they secretly add flavoring and not tell you? Yes, it's allowed. Also with, let's see, what is it? Rum. What else they said? Rum, brandy. American blended whiskey. Not bourbon. No, not bourbon. All right. Let's look at the website. I have no website listing for Aristocrat because there isn't any. Nothing available. Here is Kings Bay rum dark gold. Seemed like I would call it Kings Bay dark gold rum. 80 proof, typical. They're all about 80. Kings Bay Tropical Island style gold rum. Now, when it first hit the market, it was from the tropical islands. It was from Grenada or St. Vincent and the Grenadines or Barbados, Lucia, or Trinidad and Tobago or St. Kitts and Nevis. But I'm sorry, St. Kitts and Nevis. I said that was wrong since I said it. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Christopher and Nevis Island, little, very countries, very tiny. But they built a distillery. How do I say this? They demolished the distillery in Glenmore, Owensboro, Kentucky. It was called the Glenmore Distillery. It was demolished because it was so. The advice from experts was it's not worth renovating. It's cheaper to build it from the ground up, which is what they did. Tore it down to the ground and built it back up to a new modern distillery, which is open now. Been open not long. And interestingly, they rum there, rum in Kentucky. True story. Now I would think the molasses or sugarcane, probably Louisiana or Texas, something like that. So there's the ingredients: molasses. They forgot to put natural flavor, probably vanilla. And then about the producer. Doesn't say the fat company. If you can see that, it's kind of small. Doesn't say the founders company. Um, so you can get this for $13.99 if you're a member of the Albertsons Rewards Club. I'm a member because it doesn't cost anything to join. All you do is make a, you can see right there it says Ronald. Uh, all you do is just put in your information. They'll send you an email nagging you about stuff. You can just ignore it. Sometimes it'll be something really good, but they don't have the regular size bottles like I have. They got these huge bottles. Well, mine's plastic, but it's 750, not 1,750. I had a chance to buy this, but I thought that was a little bit too much. All right, there you go. Now turn on the lamps. Will I be able to tell them apart? Well, I don't really know. This is a true Caribbean rum. Like I said, from somewhere in the West Indies. I don't know which islands. Could be Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, the Cayman Islands. There's so many. They're very tiny. Some of them have mountains. More like hills to me. Like when I went to Puerto Rico, they were saying all these mountains, and I was looking around. And I was like, well, it looks like hills to me. But you want to call it a mountain? Go ahead. I mean, I guess they're like technically a mountain, but when you see it, it looks to me like hills. But anyway, I don't care. I've been to all 50 states, and I've been to some very mountainous states like Montana and Alaska, and those look like mountains. And I've been to other states where I said that looks like hills, but there's no strict actually dividing line between a hill and a mountain. A mountain is basically a bigger hill. All right, enough of that. I don't have Albertsons or Safeway in my area, says Tab. Where do you live? Because I bet you have Shaw's or Vons or Jewel Osco or just name a common grocery chain in your area. I bet you'll have one owned by Albertsons, but usually people don't even realize it. Like, I didn't know Super One Foods was owned by Brookshire till I found out. Publix. Oh, that's in Florida. Oh, well, no, they're not. They're not affiliated. Sorry, they're not affiliated. Now, I don't know if Albertsons or Kroger is down in Florida. I don't think so yet. Excuse me, coughing still. Crazy. Never felt sick. Never felt sick. Never went into my nose. Oh, Albertsons used to be there. It left. Okay, I got you. They tried to make one in New Orleans. They opened one in New Orleans 21 years ago. It lasted about a year. I don't know what their problem was, but they're very strong in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You go to Baton Rouge, there's like 5 Albertsons, and they're really good stores. And if you go to Hammond, they have one there, a really good store. So they're strong, like in that area. But around here, non-existent. But I'm only 35 miles from Albertsons, so when I'm in that town, I'll go check it out. I'll drop in and see what they got. Usually nothing that I want, but if I go there, like let's say if I go there 4 times a year, half the time they'll have something I want. You know what I mean? Like 2 times I'll just leave. They don't have anything, but the other 2 they will. Now years ago it was more of what I wanted that I hadn't seen before, but well, I guess I bought a lot of it. That's why I don't see as much because I have half of it already. Their prices are kind of not the best, but that's pretty much their approach. It's like, we're not a discount store. Go somewhere else then. They might be trying to attract a better quality clientele or something. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, if you go to all the stores in that town, you're probably not going to save $10. if you bought $300 worth of groceries, you might save, I don't know, $15. But you might get $20 worth of headache going to some of the cheaper ones, No, I mean, but I don't know that. I mean, that town, I can't really think of one grocery store I could complain about up there. I just cruise around, You say, oh, you're going to make a video about your life called cruising, huh? Yeah, that's me. I'm always cruising for beer, wine, and liquor. Sometimes I find something I want, usually not really, but occasionally I do. It's not like the old days. 12 years ago, you'd find like so much stuff. You'd just be buying like $100 worth of stuff. It'd be so exciting. Now it's like, I don't want it. This smells nice, but it doesn't smell anything like remarkable. There is a little vanilla note in it, though. Mainly it just smells like very pale gold rum. Okay, $6.99 for the liter, $5.99 for the 750 milliliter. So not a whole lot of difference over here. Tab says, when I was a kid, I lived in Carson City, Nevada. I think you're talking about. We had Albertsons and Safeway, but we rarely went there because of the high prices. Oh, so it hadn't changed, huh? Wasn't that different back then, huh? Okay, appearance. The Aristocrat is a little darker. The aroma, it's a washout. They're the same. Mild vanilla, light molasses, smelling rum. Smelling. I didn't taste yet. Smelling. So appearance, not much difference, but a minimal amount. Aroma, it's a washout. And let's go with the taste. Cheers. Very dry. There's some sweetness, but not. If it's 20% sweet, I'd be shocked. It's more like 85% dry, but maybe I don't know. I have to really sit down and think about it. This got to be the King's Bay, because I remember that when I first tried the King's Bay, I said, oh, it's so dry. Whoa, you'd be thirsty drinking this. Aristocrat. I'm assuming this is, I could be wrong. It's got oakiness, but this one has oakiness, like, I'm not saying charred oak. I mean like uncharred oak, just like toothpick wood. Are these aged a long time? Oh, come on now. They're not aged a long time. $5.99, $6.99 for a liter. If they were aged 4 months, I'd be shocked. If they were aged 4 months, I would be shocked. There doesn't seem to be any indication that coloring is added. So I don't get the impression that they're adding any coloring. That's why they're so pale. Oh, so very pale. I mean, look, that's gold, but not really gold. More like straw, I think, because that's what it should look like. But, they want it to look dark. So what do? An injection of caramel coloring. Nah, it ain't going to make you sick, to my knowledge. I don't think it's going to make you ill or, bad for your health or anything. But it's cheating, It's cheating. Now, you might say, well, add natural flavors cheating. Yes, but to be fair, well, they say they're on the bottle. So you could just choose to put it back, right? If you went to the Albertsons or Jewel Osco or Vines or Shaw's, or Amigos. There's a grocery chain they own called Amigos. And you saw this, you say rum with natural flavor. No, I want something that's flavored. Okay, you just put it back on the shelf, right? But a lot of people are going to buy it anyway because it said $5.99. Well, actually, most people aren't even going to look at that. Like I know most people I talk to, they are aloof. Like it's not in their mindset. Like they don't ever look at the label to see that. I don't care what they're buying: rum, gin, brandy, bourbon, vodka, tequila. It never enters their mindset to look at that label that carefully. So if it says rum, 40% alcohol, or if it says rum with natural flavor, it just means nothing. It goes like over their head. Now, if they buy it and they taste it and they like it, they'll keep buying it. And it's pretty obvious people have been buying Kings Bay for 38 years because every time I go to Albertsons, it's heavily stocked. There's multiple facings of it and it's deep on the shelf. And if it gets low, it'll, you might go on a Friday night, it's getting low, Friday night. So then go there 2 days later, thing will be stocked full. They brought in a shipment, or at least by Monday. So you say, well, they must have a lot of people like cheap rum. Bingo, you nailed it. They do. And they like cheap vodka, and they like cheap bourbon, and they like cheap blended whiskey, and they like cheap rum. Oh, I said rum. Tequila, brandy, and so forth. Yes, you got it right. You say, well, they're not a very discriminating taster. They don't have discriminating taste. Yeah, that's probably true. But if they eat their Kraft macaroni and cheese with their ballpark franks and their Lay's potato chips and drinking some Kings Bay, I'm pretty sure they're happy watching what they're watching, Wheel of Fortune. I don't know what they're watching. So everybody is not a liquor enthusiast. You say, well, they drink a lot. But it's not the same thing. They just drink because it's like a commodity, like using a box of matches to light a fire. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not like us. Like we're eccentric in a sense that we like, oh, I'm going to taste this beer. I want to think about it. I want to talk about it. What does it taste like? What's the body? Most people don't do that. That's considered strange, but most people would consider that very strange. Whether it's whiskey or any liquor or wine or beer, they don't do that. Most people do not do that. So and if it's coffee or if it's canned soup, they're just buying it and they say, I like that Progresso split pea soup. And that's it. They like Progresso split pea soup. And they say, but I make it fancy. I put hot sauce in it. I got Texas Pete and I put it in it. Oh, then that's the fancy part of it. Liquor enthusiast says, oh, wait, let's see. Did I ever visit Carson City Limit? Oh, he's talking to somebody. Yes, I was born in Carson City and we lived there till I was 15. We had class field trips to the Mint. Oh, to the Mint. I was reading Limit. My eyes are not working. That's the capital of Nevada, is it not? Canadian Club, says DD, the liquor enthusiast, the coveted Mint mark. Oh, Carson City. Oh, yeah, okay. There used to be a Mint in New Orleans, but it's closed now. Well, actually, it's a museum now, but it was a Mint. It's like that new graveyard they built here, that new cemetery. They got people dying to get into that place. Okay, yeah, the governor's mansion is there. Oh, okay, I saw the governor's mansion in Hawaii and in Alaska, but they didn't let me go in. But I saw it and took photos, put it on my Facebook page. People liked it, I guess. So Kings Bay, I think this is Kings Bay, but I'm not sure. Would I pay extra per ounce for one of these over the other? Oh, well, maybe. It's doubtful. You notice how all these gold rums have like a yellowish label? Is that like a rule? Is that like a law? Um, just kidding, of course. But it is kind of weird. Maybe I would pay $1 more for the Aristocrat because it does seem to have a little bit more character. With the emphasis on the word little, like virtually no difference. So it's a draw. I feel like Walter Cronkite taking my glasses off and on all the time. Except I'm not a socialist. But anyway, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. But Kings Bay. I got it. Did you ever doubt it? I didn't, except for most of the video. But yeah, I mean it's a draw, really. Take your pick. I say call it. Like is this team favored? Is that team favored? No, it's a pick 'em. It's a pick 'em. Take your pick. I'll say shop price on these. Obviously, shop price because they're. It's funny because these are both literally designed for shopping price. So final assessment. Can you buy an inexpensive gold rum and it not be ghastly and actually be arguably good? We're talking about much less than $10 per bottle. You hear what I said? Much less than $10 per bottle in 2025. The answer would be yes. In fact, you can. And I did it both times. Did I know what to think about these when I first popped open the bottle? No, honestly, I didn't. I didn't know what to expect. Well, of course, I was hoping for the best, but I didn't know. I thought I got them for so cheap. I don't know if they'd be just could be a nightmare, But they're not. They're not. They're not. Is there? Are they anything to track down and look for, or clearly not? Is this something you're going to be depressed about if you don't ever find it? I don't know why you would be, because every town probably got these kind of products. Could be from different parent companies. They all be about the same. That's about it. Just goes to show you don't have to pay a fortune to get something decent. Now, see, some people will twist my words. Oh yeah, he tries these kind of products, talking about how awesome they are. When did I ever say they were awesome? Did that word ever come out of my mouth in the description of these rums? I don't think it did. I know it didn't. All my statements. I said what? Things like they're enjoyable, when you think about it, within certain reasonable limits. They have quality. They have a quality to them within a certain context. That's what I said. It's more enjoyable not to be a fanatic because then you can look at things and you don't have to be all like wound up about it. You just examine it. And I have no horse in the race. That makes no difference to me who wins. And the answer, once again, is that there is no winner. The winner is you. If you buy either one of these, I think you're the winner, assuming you're not looking at it out of context. All right. So while we have some college basketball starting. I like to watch that, during the year. I usually get sleepy and fall asleep, but I like to watch it, which these days college basketball and college football is more like professional basketball and football, but then I think it always was, but now they're doing what they used to do under the table openly. It used to be who counts the money underneath the bar, but now they just count the money above the bar. So I was listening to a guy on the radio today. He was calling into the sports show, and he was saying, "Yeah, I used to feel ripped off because all I got was a motorbike, and everybody else was getting Trans Ams and Corvettes." He's talking about in the 70s, when you couldn't pay people to play. Because he said, all I got was a motorbike, but the other guys were getting Trans Ams, and I think he said Corvettes. I know he said Trans Ams. All right, y'all take care now. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow morning because I have some other exciting videos lined up for this week. And I'm going to bring in some heavy hitters, like your Bacardis. That Kings Bay is fine. I don't have a problem with it. But there's no way Kings Bay got a chance against Bacardi. That would be a massacre. There's no way on earth it can win. It's an impossibility. But I'll do the video anyway. What the heck? All right. Bye-bye, everybody.